Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I am Susan, your hostess. Today is a Grateful Friday, and today I'm going to share some things I'm grateful for, plus a little bit of friend mail. So I've written down some things that I wanted to say to you, but I want to tell you that I just got a new hatchling out in the coop. We have a new baby duck. So that little baby the feathers hadn't even dried yet when I picked it up and held it in my hand. So tiny. And I've already set up the brooder for it, and I'm sure that we're going to have a few more hatching within the next few days to keep it company. And I told my husband we're running out of space in the one coop to put brooders, so he's going to have to make some adjustments there. We probably will be building a coop or two to house all of these new babies in until they're big enough to go out into the main flock. Well, that is something to be grateful for. New life on the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, and I'm really, really excited to see our flocks expand. I am very, very grateful for friends that are always there for you. I try to be that kind of friend to my friends locally, and I hope that it reciprocates with others to be the kind of friend that's always there for someone else. Friendships can last a lifetime, or they may only last a few months or a few years. So cherish the moments that you have with those friends. I am definitely happy for new beginnings. I am grateful for that. I recently cleaned out my closet and got rid of a lot of clothing um, that I will be taking to a thrift store and probably be doing that tomorrow while we're out, just dropping them off and blessing some other people with gently used clothing. So I'm very happy for new beginnings. Of course, our new beginning began this morning with a new baby duckling, so we're excited about that as well. There's never an opportunity that we cannot start over as long as we're alive and as long as we are physically able. A new beginning for you may be possibly that you are addicted to drugs and alcohol. And there are many, many programs out there that can help you become stabilized and be able to kick the habits. New beginnings might be breaking an old habit and making a new habit. There's so many ways that we can talk about new beginnings. New beginnings might be a young couple married for the first time or the first newborn baby in the family. Many, many new beginnings. So never doubt that you can start over in your life. I have started over several times, went from having an abundance of things to having absolutely nothing but family around me. And each time, God replaced everything that I lost, either double or triple or quadruple. He has replaced everything. I am very, very grateful for the ability to feel love, joy, be interested in things, having positive and negative emotions, because feeling means that we are alive. And so I am very, very grateful for that ability. Some people go through life and really do not experience what true emotional feelings are all about. And for a long time, I couldn't cry. And I had prayed when I was very, very young because when I was young, my mother had Alzheimer's, had gone through a terrible brain surgery, and came out and didn't recognize anybody in the family. And I cried for months and months. And I said, Lord, take this emotion away from me. And He did. So for several years, I couldn't cry emotionally. And then one day I woke up and I said, Lord, I need that emotion of being able to cry again. And He returned it to me. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. That I am able to express the emotion with crying. Um, I am not an emotional person per se, but I enjoy the feeling of happiness and joy and laughter, but we also have to think about the negatives as well as the positives, as being an ability to feel. And so I thank God that I have those abilities today. My next one I have listed are grandparents. My grandparents grew up in a different era. They were born, some of them were born in the late 1800s or early 1900s. And I was able to experience my grandparents' love for me, an unconditional love, a love that extended generations. And I'm so thankful that I got to know my dad's parents more than my mom. Uh, at least I got to know them, and I learned some very, very lifelong experiences through knowing them. Um, Learned that they loved the Lord, that they were hardworking people. They were dirt farmers. My grandfather farmed several acres of land. He grew cotton mainly, um, but my grandmother had a garden every year, and even though she had gone blind, she was still out there gardening, and she would quilt without her eyesight. So those are skills that I remember from my paternal side of my grandparents. My mother's side of the family, my grandmother lived to be 75 years of age. She spent the latter part of her lifetime with broken hips, and she couldn't walk any longer. Back then, they didn't have hip replacement surgeries or knee replacements and all that. But she always had a positive attitude. And I learned recently that she memorized songs, and she would write for hours, write out songs on pieces of paper. And my cousin shared some of those pieces of paper with me, which I treasure. Now, my grandfather, I did not know him well. He died when I was about 4 years old. Um, he had emphysema, and he also was unsaved. And I've shared this story many, many times. I'm sure I've shared it on YouTube as well. But my grandfather did not know the Lord. My grandmother had raised beautiful roses, and he hated flowers. And my mother came home one day and took me up on her lap, and she says, "We need to pray." And we got down on our knees and we prayed really hard for my grandfather that night. And the next day she went to the hospital, and he was looking out the window, standing at the window looking out, and commented when she walked in, "Aren't the roses just beautiful?" At that point, my mother knew that he had been saved, because a lost person would not recognize something as beautiful and magnificent as a rose. And I thought, I want to know this Jesus that saved my granddaddy like that. And a few years later, I was saved. And I've been following Jesus ever since. So, grandparents are extremely important. Both of my grandmothers were fantastic cooks. They both cooked from scratch. Both of them did sewing and so many things. Um, my father's grandmother or mother canned and had home canned goods. They had a little place underneath their house that they stored their canned goods, but the chickens roosted in there at night as well. So everything had to be washed down really good before those cans were opened. So I grew up knowing my grandparents, and they lived very different lives from one another. Uh, my dad's parents were very, very country people. They lived in a log cabin. They had wood burning stoves for heat source. They had well water and an outhouse. My other grandparents lived in the city after have lived on a farm for many, many years. And I got to know them a little bit growing up, and by going to visit my aunt who took care of my grandmother for many, many years. The next thing I'm grateful for are hugs. Did you know that we need 4 hugs a day to survive? We need 8 hugs a day, 8 hugs a day to maintain ourselves, and 12 hugs a day for us to grow. Hugs are pleasure hormones that are released. It also has something to do with your vagus nerve stimulation and so many other health benefits. There's something about a hug. So here's a group hug for everybody. Thank you so much, my friends. I want to give you a quote. Practicing gratefulness enhances happiness and well-being. I have no idea who said it, but I thought that was perfect. Practicing gratefulness enhances happiness and well-being. Well, we've come to the end, and I've got friend mail, but this isn't just any friend mail. Tessie over at Homestead Tessie is taking donations, and I'll post a link to the video below so that you can go watch this. You might be interested in her seeds. She is opening up a seed store. And so I sent in my donation to her, and I received my pack of seeds. And what she is asking is that we put 2 stamps on an envelope with our address on it. So I did that. Here's mine. And she will enclose in that her pack of cottage seeds, Tessie's Cottage Garden. I think she said there's 16 varieties, maybe 20 varieties of flowers in here. And flowers are beautiful, folks, and I am grateful for these seeds. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking I'm going to make a Tessie's Cottage Garden sign to put wherever I decide to plant these. So, y'all, if you're interested in her seeds, just go down below and check out that link and help Miss Tessie out with some projects that they've got going on, unexpected expenses that they had recently that they needed extra money coming in to pay for. So thank you, Miss Tessie, for that, and I don't mind plugging your channel. I've been watching you for a very, very long time, and you're one of my favorite channels of all time. You're the reason I started the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. Tessie and I share a lot of core beliefs. We believe in the old ways. We believe in self-sufficiency. We're both homesteaders. We both live in a double-wide mobile home. We both enjoy indoors and outdoors. We enjoy gardening and canning and so many other things, and I am just grateful to have that friendship of Miss Tessie. Hey friends, thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you for the many comments, the likes, the friendships, and for sharing this content out. Take a moment and watch all of the advertisements because that is how I get monetized and get paid. I appreciate each and every one of you for your time and your patience. And y'all, I have this special content over here I think you might like.